course, that's Tower of Power. What is hip? 1973, I think. I believe that was their third album, their self-titled record. That is Bruce Conte on guitar. Sadly, Bruce passed away last month, and I didn't hear about it until today. And this guitar intro, I mean, I love this band anyway, and I love his guitar playing. And his name is not spoken enough, as far as I'm concerned, in guitar circles. Beastly rhythm guitar player and lead guitar player and writer. But just the intro of this tune alone is, to me, just one of the coolest. The first time I heard it was... and what I love about it is it's basically almost all in E minor pentatonic. But it doesn't just sound like your normal, like, bland minor pentatonic blues noodling. There's so much subtlety to the dynamics and the phrasing and the rhythmic structure. It's very staccato at times and syncopated. It's very much like a great horn part, which he's in Tower of Power. So, no surprise, right? I mean, rhythmically, this band in general, Rocco and Garibaldi and this band is amazing, and I mean the rhythmic aspect of what's going on. It's no surprise that the guitar player isn't just as cool. It's also he can be easily overshadowed with all the greatness in this band. So I wanted to show you one of my favorite Bruce Conte parts, and not just the intro, but then that little bit that comes after that first chorus. So let's start off and break down this intro and talk about it, how to play it. First of all, as far as the guitar tone, I'm on the middle position here. To me, that sounded closest. It almost sounds a bit like his pickups are a little out of phase. It has that kind of more tunnely quack. You could almost maybe even do like a slightly cocked wah. It's not that over the top, but it definitely has that kind of squawkiness of that like Peter Greenish kind of like middle pickup or middle selection out of phase pickup, which I have a guitar wired like that, but the strings are absolute crap right now, so I didn't bother trying that to see if I can get any closer. But middle pickup, middle spot is a good place to start. And as far as the amp or pedal tone, a great kind of warm, clean sound with a touch of gain. Like, do not use too much gain. Like, guitar players, I think, have a habit of, with a lot of these classic tones, definitely like Zeppelin and AC/DC, people tend to think rock and they crank up that gain knob. There's so much less gain and saturation on some of these tones that you think, and that's when the part really shines through, and you can be more dynamic when you're playing. So don't go crazy with the gain knob on this. It might be a guitar solo, but you don't need tons of gain for this. So here's basically where I have it set. Neck pickup sounds awesome for this part, but I think it's a middle pickup or middle position. So the part, minor pentatonic, basically for the most part, with a few really cool jumps out of it. But I'm going to dig deep into like some of the subtleties of what he's doing. So I'll put some tab up to make it easy, but I'll also kind of talk through the parts. So it starts off with this straight in the minor pentatonic on the D string, 12 to 14, hammer on. Sounds like it's hammer on. Definitely is the second time he plays it, but those horns are so loud in there. He could be sliding up, he could be playing it, but hammer it on. And then, now that 12 to 14 on the D, and then the 12 on the G and back down to the 14. It's not this. He's doing a lot of these little micro bends. So pulling or pushing that G note up, or that minor third up almost to a third. Not quite. Not that far, but there's a lot of that happening in this, which is to me, a crucial detail. It sounds amazing. So push that 12th fret a little bit. And then after that little horn line, bend the 15th fret of the high E. And this big bend, he's not doing any vibrato. It's not this. And then he pulls the bend down. And then right before he does this riff, On that 15, when he pulls the bend down, he goes. And at the very end of the riff, before that note, before he goes into the longer riff, same thing. He pushes that G note up a little bit. So right before you play that other riff, just push that 15th fret a little sharp. And then the riff, E note, 12th fret of the high E string, and then from D to B, the 15th to the 12th fret of the B string, pull off. And then when you play this A note, the 14th fret of the G, I pull it. I think it's easier to, it's almost like yanking it up and back down and then a pull off. So it's a bend, but I think pulling it down can get a real quick, smooth, like kind of yank bend. And then pull off 14 to 12 and then back up to the 14. So, and I believe he's kind of pushing that 12th fret again. Almost every time he ends on that G note, he kind of gives it that little push. So it goes. That's that whole pattern. So up till there it goes. Now back to essentially that first riff again. This is sliding 14 up to 16 on the G, and I would use either my middle or third finger so that my first finger can grab the 15th of the B right after. So, or either one, but so sliding up to the 16th of the B, playing the 15th of the G, and then this little pattern, very staccato, he's not digging in. And then slides 15 down to 14 on the B, which is the intervals that are happening there. It's the minor 7th or the flatted 7th down to the 6th. So he's going out of the minor pentatonic, jumping all the way up to that A note on the 17th fret of the high E. And then he repeats that flat 7 to 6 or that 15 to 14 on the B and plays a G note, that minor third. So when I learned this a long time ago and played it with a band years ago, I think I used to play that wrong. I think I used to go, which works, but this is the right way. And then the little pattern after that goes straight to an E major scale. So it's the 14th fret, which is the 9 or a 2, a second of E, up to the A note or the 17th fret. And then again, it goes from the 14th to the 16th this time, and then 12, 14. So the intervals there are 2, 4, 2 major third. So now we're straight into a major scale, and then 1, 2 or 1, 9. And the very last bit of that riff is the G note again, the 12th fret of the G string, with a slight little push. Now the 14th fret or A note, and then bend that up. So all together in slow motion it goes. All right, so the second little lead break, which happens right after, we'll call it the first chorus. It's after they move up to G, and there's that little back down to E riff. Comes right in on bending the 17th fret up a whole step, which is an A note up to a B note, or in the key V, it's a 4th up to a 5th. And then there's this staccato and a very syncopated rhythmic pattern that actually creates the riff. We're not changing notes. It's a good way to think of this, if you're having a hard time, obviously what I just played wasn't exactly right. It's close, but it's you're also not hearing it against the backbeat. So a good way to think about this, if you're having a hard time hearing the pattern of this rhythmic phrase, without getting really fancy into counting, and to me it's better to like lock into hearing it and feeling it and trying to develop a muscle memory so you're not having to count while you're playing. But counting really helps if you're having a hard time getting it. So here's an easy way to think of counting it. Basically, think of most of the patterns as having one note before it's muted, like, or two quick notes before it's muted. And the pattern will go after the bend. It's playing the way I'll count it is if it's one note before muting will count as one, and two notes will count as two. So like the first pattern will go after the bend. It goes 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. So bend, then 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. Okay? So bend, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. Then 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And those are all quick. 1, 2, 3, 4 are all quick. But the fourth note, the bend is released. So that pattern will go 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the 4 is the bend release. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So all together, it's 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the bend release. Hope that makes sense. So bend, then 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Practice that, count it, slow motion, count it while you're listening to the track, and just try to like lock in and feel that pattern in the rhythm. Muscle memory and repetition is the way to get it. All right. So after that little bend release, it goes down to, it's going down to the 14th fret of the high E, which again is not part of the minor pentatonic, is it? It's a ninth or a second. It's a half step below the note in the minor pentatonic, even though he is kind of bending that up a little bit. So he goes, but essentially he's going out of the minor pentatonic again there. But then he's playing the 12th fret of the B to the 15th fret of the high E, which is a fifth to a minor third. And then he's playing those same two notes again 3 times in a row as double stops. Okay? And the very last bit is, it ends very much like the first little solo break did, which ended like, first two notes are the same. It just goes back down to that G note, or the 12th fret of the G string. So it goes 12, 14, 12, instead of 12, 14, bend, 14. So that whole pattern is okay. That's it. The first bit and the second lead break. Bruce Conte. Look up his discography, everything he's played on. He's a great player to study. Spread his name around. Keep practicing. Good luck with this, and I'll see you around.